Sword Prepper here. Today's video might be a little different. I don't have my stick here with me. How many of you all have seen this before? How many of you watchers, all of you who watch this, how many of you have seen these courses of action that are being taken in our lifetime right now? How many of us have seen it before? Whether in history or in your favorite TV show or your favorite movie, whether it's in a book, whether it's I don't know, comic, magazine. How many of you have seen it before? We all have, in one way or another. Starts out as a good thing. Starts out peaceful. Everyone gets along. Then there's this person or people that somehow rise to power, whether through deceit or just through just somehow they just rise to power, and slowly but surely they take over that good harmony that was there, and they turn it to tyranny, and they become this all-powerful kingdom of rules and regulations, and everyone must live by those regulations, otherwise they're going to die, basically. We've seen it in Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. My favorite show, actually, Lord of the Rings. Not the stupid Rings of Power thing they're making. That's garbage. Utter, just stupid garbage. The original Lord of the Rings is what I'm talking about. We've seen it in Lord of the Rings. Poldark. Avengers. Iron Man. Captain America. All these TV shows, these big TV shows that everyone knows about, all have the same story. Hunger Games, The Maze Runner, all of those things. Same exact storyline, different characters, different places, that's all. But it's the same storyline. And in each and every one of these storylines, the rebellion, the rebels, us, are always considered the good guys. And the people who rise to power, the dictators and the lawmakers, are always the ones that are bad. The trouble is that people can see that when it's a movie. People can understand that, oh yeah, Luke Skywalker was so brave and so brilliant for taking on the Emperor. Oh, Katniss Everdeen, the bravest girl alive, for actually going against and taking on the president and all that good stuff. Aragorn led the army to one last stand. Frodo, so brave for taking the ring against the grain. All that good stuff. But these are the same people that, when it comes to real life, if you don't follow the law, if you don't follow the dictatorship, if you're not on board with whatever the government, whatever leadership says, then you're evil. You're a problem. You're an enemy. Yeah. So, it's good to be able to have your own mind. Also, these stories help us. Now, I'm not one for trying to convey fiction with reality, but there's always a takeaway from every story. And these stories allow us to see. They allow us to realize that perhaps we're doing the right thing when we are going against the grain, because just like in Hunger Games, the average person was clueless to what was really going on. The average person was just fine living in their bubbled society with nothing but colors and stupidity going around. That was the average person, and it took someone who was willing to go against the grain. It took someone who was willing to put everything on the line and do what was necessary to bring these things down. And that's what we have to take away from those stories. Because as you see, our life is slowly but surely going down the exact same route. Slowly but surely we are living in the exact same storyline. Because there's nothing new under the sun. There's a saying that goes, when tyranny becomes law, rebellion becomes duty. I don't know if that's the exact quote, but this pretty much goes like that. When tyranny becomes law, rebellion becomes duty. We have to take that to heart, because if you and I don't stand up, if you and I don't say, okay, you've crossed the line, we're not gonna follow you there. If we don't become the ones to say no, then we're the failures, and we're no better than the bad guys. If we decide to live concurrent and decide to just be a part of the society that we know is evil, that we know is no good, that we know is harming people under the quiet, then we're no better than the people that are harming innocent people themselves. We're no better than the enemy. That saying that I just mentioned, when tyranny becomes law, rebellion becomes duty. That's so true, so important for us, because in all of those stories, or all those movies that I just mentioned, if the Luke Skywalkers hadn't risen up, if the Aragorns hadn't risen up, if the Frodo hadn't decided he was going to take the ring to the flame, if all of these people had just sat back and done nothing, like, pretty much like everyone is doing nowadays, sitting back and doing nothing, just watching the things play out and letting it happen. If those guys hadn't risen up, then the day would have been lost. The villain would have won, hands down. No one would have been there to save anything. It would have been the end. That would have been it. So, what I'm saying here is, we have to decide for ourselves when we raise up. When do we say, I've had enough? When do we say, I'm not standing for this? I won't watch. If this is the reality, if this is the lifestyle you're trying to bring upon us, that I would rather die. I would rather die than be a part of it. There's that other saying, give me freedom, give me liberty, or give me death. And so it is. So it is. Most everyone in the prepper community is not young, I'll say that. They're older. They're either in their 30s, 40s, 50s. So, people like me have no one to relate to, have no one to talk about this stuff to, have no one to be a part. And I'm not trying to boo-hoo for my generation or anything. That's our fault. It's actually not. It's actually our parents' fault, because it's actually my generation's parents' fault. Not my parents in general. My parents are great, but the generation that I came from, it's actually those parents' fault for not attempting to teach their children the right way, because if you don't know your history, you are doomed to repeat it. Where was I going with that thought? So, yes, we have to be the ones to stand up. We have to be the ones to say no. We have to be the examples. Because history shows that without that, tyranny wins. The way America was founded, we talked about that. Tyranny had won, almost. But there were a few brave men that decided we've had enough. And so it was. It's time to separate. It's time to get ready. It's time to say enough. It's time to say, give me freedom, or give me death. Alright, warriors. Stay out of the heat. Keep prepping. Sword prepper out. See you in the line of battle.